Today is going to be a very shallow day. Not looking forward to it. It's going to be a nail biter in a couple spots. We are leaving Georgetown, South Carolina, and we are headed for an anchorage just north of Charleston. We're either going to go to Price Creek, which we've used a few times, or we're going to go to Dewees Creek, which is a little bit further down. Price Creek is where we met Jen and Elliott last season on the way north when they dragged anchor. I'll put their video about that up here. So I think that they're not too excited about going back to that anchorage. So I think we'll probably end up at Dewey's. There is a section today that has shoaled to less than 5 feet at low tide. We are hoping to hit that at about an hour before high tide. So that'll still keep us on a rising tide, and it'll be towards the upper end of a rising tide. So we should be able to scoot through there without too much issue. Oh, I got problems right here in River City. We've been having issues with our GPS, and right now, for whatever reason, it thinks I'm in Wilmington. And we're coming into our very first shoal spot of the day at low tide, which is leaving Georgetown here. And all of a sudden, I have no GPS signal. So that's super exciting. I'm connected to the Vesper. Oh, there we go. I just get connected back in.
Hey all, Gwen from the future here. As I'm editing this, I realized we didn't really explain what was actually going on with the iPad. And since we've given advice on electronics for the ICW in the past, I just want to make sure that I am crystal clear on what was actually happening with our issue. It was not the Vesper, and it really wasn't the iPad's fault entirely. The iPad was prioritizing a actual data connection. So it was trying to connect to other networks that it knew of. So it was trying to connect to our hotspot and to my phone, but it was doing it in the background. Like, it was looking like it was connected to the Vesper, but it actually wasn't. So what we did was we just forgot those networks. So every time we have to connect the iPad to one of the data-driven networks, we just forget it after we connect it so that it can't automatically connect to it. So that way, the only network that it knows about is the Vesper network, and we have not had any issues since.
This harbor, as you come in, is very shallow. It is low tide right now, so it just kicked back on. I've got it again. We're gonna hope that the Vesper and the GPS works all day today, because that happening in a couple of the spots we're gonna handle today is probably not gonna be a whole lot of fun. Especially since it just took me to like Wrightsville Beach randomly. There's a spot at mile marker 430 and another at 438. So those are the two spots right now. Everything else has basically been dredged in the last year. It's still not great. There's still a couple spots that are like 7 feet at low tide, but for us, that's no big deal. 7 feet. We don't really start getting concerned until the depth sounder saying 6. It's a very early start, but that's so that we can ride the tide down when you bay. So let's get at it. Things I'm learning today: I do not like fog without radar. This is not a lot of fun. I don't really like fog that much anyway because I have astigmatism, so it's really hard for me in the fog anyway. But without radar, I'm feeling like I'm driving a little blind. It has gotten pretty darn foggy. I would say we're probably less than a quarter-mile visibility at this point. We also have a knot and a half of current with us, which is awesome, except for the fact that I can't see the entrance to like the canal part of the ICW as we turn off here. Can't see it yet, and it's only like, I don't know, yeah, it's like less than a quarter-mile away. And we're going a knot and a half, and immediately after the turn is a pretty shallow spot, and it is low tide right now, so this could be fun. So I have to basically like pay really close attention to my positioning as I turn, because the current's going to keep pushing me down, and there's a potential that I end up on a shoal because the current's pushing me this way as I'm trying to turn. So I need to time my turn really well, even though I can't really see it until it's like right in front of me. I haven't had enough caffeine for this yet. Okay, I can see pivot. I can see the marker. I think we're doing okay. Oh, 13 feet of water. Doing good. Doing great. Doing wonderful. Okay. We're in. I have 8 feet of water right now and dropping quickly. Let's get a little bit more to the center here. All right, doing okay. This first little section's the worst of it, and then it should be better after this. So I'm just gonna take it slow. I think we're through the worst. The worst of the shoaling here is like right at the mouth where you come in from Winya Bay to the channel is like the worst of the shoaling. So we have almost 9 feet of water again, and I think we're gonna be fine. So we're about 20 miles from our next big shoaling spot. We're in a brand new anchorage that we've never used before. We are at Dewees Creek, or Dewees Island, which is just north of Isle of Palms, and this place is so nice. It's really similar to Price Creek, which we've used before, except for you don't have the whole like feeling like you're going to be swept out to sea by the current situation. There is a lot of current in here, but it's actually kind of nice because it's keeping us off of the grass. And now we're gonna go for a little dinghy adventure and try to find a spot to land the dog because there are supposed to be some options. So
All right. So I ran aground. I was like, look at this beautiful bay, and I found the big, like the only mud bank in the middle. So we'll just raise the motor back out of the muck. Oh, that's muddy. Yeah.
wait.
That's all mud on there. That's good for it.
After running aground a few more times with the dinghy, we finally found a landing spot for the dogs. Not ideal, but it did the job.
Good morning. We have 2 bridges to get through today, and both of which, if I'm honest, are a pain in the ass. The first is the Ben Sawyer Bridge, which is on demand during the week, except from 7 to 9 and 4 to 6. But on the weekends, it's on demand, except from 9 to 7, it only opens on the hour. So that one we are trying to hit the 9 o'clock opening for, but as you might be able to see behind me, it's a little foggy today. The second bridge is probably even a bigger pain in the butt during the week because it doesn't open from 6 to 10 in the morning and 3 to 7 at night. So it only opens from 10 to 3 and only on the half hour. So once an hour. But both of these bridges have slightly better weekend schedules. The Ben Sawyer Bridge will open in the morning until 9 o'clock, and then it goes to every hour, which is still kind of a pain. But the Wapoo Creek Bridge is on demand during the weekends, which is awesome, especially since we have a little bit of timing to deal with today as well in terms of current. This section is a little logistically challenging, which is why a lot of people deal with Ben Sawyer on one day, stay in Charleston, and then deal with Wapoo Creek on the second day and time Wapoo Creek and Elliott's Cut on the second day. Elliott Cut requires some timing because the current can be like 5 or 6 knots against you. Usually with you, it's a little bit less than that. Going southbound, so going northbound, it would be the opposite. Previously, we have tried to hit it as close to slack as we possibly can, given the bridge schedule. But today, because of the fog and the bridge schedules and the current in the harbor, we are probably going to hit it closer to like 2 hours after the current switches. Not my favorite spot in the ICW. Probably one of the highest current areas, short of one particular bridge in Florida, which we'll talk about later. But it is definitely not something to just kind of breeze through. It's pretty narrow, and if center consoles get in there, going against the current, you can get standing waves, so that's fun. So we're trying to get to Steamboat Creek today. We're getting a little later start because of the fog. We don't have radar right now. If we had radar, I wouldn't be hesitating to be going in this. We have about a quarter-mile visibility, which for us normally wouldn't be a big deal, but we have no radar right now. And Charleston Harbor with no radar and quarter-mile visibility doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun. But looking straight up, I can see blue sky, which is a good sign. And we can see pivot again, which is also a good sign. So we're going to try to get going here in the next 10 minutes so that we can hopefully hit Ben Sawyer at the 9 o'clock opening before it switches to every hour and we have to wait till 10.
It looked like the fog was finally clearing until just before we reached the bridge.
So we missed the 9 o'clock bridge because didn't actually miss it. We made it there perfectly on time, but there was so much fog the bridge tender decided not to open it for us. Now we have to wait for the 10 a.m. They won't do a delayed opening for the 9 a.m. for us, so we're just touring around, going back and forth. There's a lot of small boat traffic because it's Saturday, and we were kind of hoping we'd be out of here before like the roll out of bed at 9 o'clock and get on your boat at 10 o'clock type of deal. Crowd is gone, but it is what it is.
After an hour wait, we were back underway, headed for Wapoo Creek Bridge and Elliott Cut. There were a few standing waves in the cut, but we only saw about 2.5 knots of current, so overall, an easy passage through Elliott Cut. After an unexpectedly long day, we finally made it to the beautiful anchorage at Steamboat Creek, where we will stage for our next round of shoaling on our ICW trip south. We'll see you all next time.
Whoa, that echoed.
Do it again.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's inside. No. Get inside.
Good boy, buddy.
We abuse you so much.
Good boy.